like while you were, because a lot of people, when making a company, it's easier now that it's easier for you to hire people because you also have HRs, right? But in the initial stage, how did you initially hire and pick the right person to do the right stuff while you were starting off?
I think that first couple of hires are key. It's very important because like the company rallies around them. I mean, culture is not something that you define. Okay, it actually comes from bottom up. So making that first couple of hires were very important for us, and that's true for our story as well. Ma Nepalma I was looking for really good engineering talent. I only knew 2 places to get engineering talent from, and one I didn't want to pick from. Or the D2 Hakai नै थियो. And because I don't believe in burning any bridges, because you don't know how things circle back to you, I didn't want to hire from them, because that relationship, that trust was important to me. I knew IOE was a great place to hunt for good talent, and it was the IIT of Nepal. So I started working, like talking to people and all that. ठ्याक्कै त्यति बेला नै के थियो भने IBM ले चाहिँ एउटा रिसर्च सेन्टर खोल्ने भनेको थियो के नेपालमा, त्यो बनेपामा छ नि, त्यो आइटी के सर त्यो एउटा छ नि, एउटा आइटी त्यो बिल्डिङ, व्हाट्स इट कल्ड, आइटी हब हो कि आइटी डेभलपमेन्ट सेन्टर, समथिङ लाइक द्याट छ कि होइन, बनेपामा छ त्यो होइन. सो त्यहाँ चाहिँ खोल्ने भनेको थियो उनीहरूले. अब लङ स्टोरी सर्ट, लाइक दे सर्ट लिस्टेड 5 पिपल IOE KU को, बट IBM नेभर एन्डेड अप कमिङ टु नेपाल होइन. सो म ठ्याक्कै नेपाल फर्केको होला, आई मेट विथ हाम्रो यो HLCIT को मनोहर भट्टराई भन्ने हुनुहुन्थ्यो होइन. उहाँसित कुरा गर्दाखेरि हिमाल एक्चुली लाइक इफ यु लुकिङ फर गुड पिपल आई हेभ देम होइन, जस्ट बिकज लाइक IBM ले लिने भनेको थियो, that's not going anywhere, maybe you can hire them. He was just happy to basically put them somewhere. It was I think it was a very lucky stroke for us. We hired those 5 people. Great engineering talent. Right now all of those people are working in Google, Facebooks of the world right now. They've left us, but you can get a sense of how good they were technically. And they were part of the FOSS free and open source software. They had led that. So I mean their mindset was also right. अर्को चाहिँ म D2मै काम गर्दाखेरि अब एकजना भाइ थियो होइन, he was basically technical lead होइन, and then he had left D2 to start his own company, and he was at that phase of thinking whether I should continue with this or like basically join some other initiative भनेको थियो. And I really liked him, the way he thought, like very thoughtful. I tend to be basically I like to bulldoze through things, because like सुरुमा गर्दाखेरि त जसरी हुन्छ Sam, Dam, Dandavet, come rain, come shine, you have to get it done. He tended to be a lot more methodical, very like strategic about things. So if I was the yin, he was the yang one. So you always have to look for people who either disagree with you or who complement your
ideas,
not ideas, or your weaknesses. So I liked him because like he was anti-me. So I was like, him and those 5 people, I think that was really good in terms of setting the right base foundation. That's how we started. But now in the beginning nobody has heard of you, so you have to personally sell them on the ideas, personally sell them on the fact that you are financially stable, you can pay the bills and all that. So I had to do that, like to meet with each of them, make a full court press about the idea that I was embarking on, and the fact that I had enough financial backing that they don't have to worry about like running. I mean that's the job of a leader.
So was it hard in terms of selling your dream to them, in terms of aligning your goals?
I mean it wasn't very hard to begin with, and I mean basically because I think in my case I came through a certain track record. Oracle थियो, D2 थियो, त्यसपछि a little bit of Duo Walkman थियो. So I think that kind of spoke for at least my abilities. So that made it a little easier. The other thing is we made sure we paid them at least on par or better than what the average salaries were. So that also helps the cause, So I didn't find that as a hard part. Now, I didn't find the right person going after them. I mean, I had to do that.
Because we have in Nepal we have a trend of looking at the one person, let's suppose the Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, is watching them start a company, and people are like, after I am done with my, let's suppose 11, 12, I want to start a company, right? But as you said, it takes a lot of let's suppose track record, experience to build a company. So what do you say to the people who just graduated or who want to start a company without the experience? Like Do you think experience is needed? How much of is it more experience, or how much is it more of like the technical thing that you studied?
So again, एउटा saying छ don't underestimate the person who overestimates himself once again. त्यो भने के भने sometimes if they are right, they can change the world once again. So there are going to be some people who are like who basically buck the trend. They are so good. Maybe the Bill Gates of the world, maybe the Steve Jobs of the world, maybe the Elon Musk of the world. There's going to be a few of them. And for them, I think no rules apply. So I mean, if you really are that committed, if you're that extra person, and you know it, by all means go for it. Tara, I would say the playing field in Nepal is very different from US. We don't have people like with that much money. We don't have VC. We don't have private equity and all that. So there's not a lot of money flowing into the technical world to begin with, technology world to begin with. So Malai ke lagcha bhane in Nepal, it matters quite a bit, like who you know, your network, and how much trust people put on you. All of that comes with exposure, experience, and basically paying your dues through a number of years in the work. So my advice is, look, I think starting a company and making it successful is going to be one of the hardest things that you do. It may look easy, but it's not. There's a lot of very lonely times, because it's very lonely at the top ones. So my suggestion is and it comes from my own experience, is try to find a few people that you trust in to start that. Just don't make it a single founder company. Arko चाहिँ a few years of experience in the field will help you quite a bit, because the network matters, exposure matters, and finding the person that you can sell to very easily, or so that matters quite a bit. So getting a few years of experience will help.
Because I want to share a story. Like I worked in a tech grocery startup. So for me, I was working there, but I think they were in the, let's suppose, wrong track in my opinion, in terms of let's suppose they already spent a lot in terms of the company structure rather than the actual product. So the CEO was, let's suppose, about my age. He was focused more over not about the product, but more about how the company looked, the showcase. So maybe when somebody starts a company, their, let's suppose, hierarchy of what matters might be different. Because yes, we all have seen companies, startups starting from, let's suppose, the garage. So while making that growth, do you think there should be the correct mindset that, let's suppose, help them go to the next step?
Of course, so the thing is, fundamentals is very important regardless. The thing is, again, no matter how much gloss you put over things, they once in saying US money, where's the meat? Thing is, it's very important to what is the meat of the company? It doesn't matter who your executives are. It doesn't matter how good of an office you have. If what you are selling and your financials from a day-to-day perspective or a month-to-month perspective, if they're not speaking the truth, you're gonna fail as a company. So I think it's very important to know what is your USP as a company. How are you faring in terms of that in the marketplace? The grocery what is it, e-commerce in
e-commerce? Yeah,
right?
Tarkari, yeah.
So the thing is what's how much are you selling on a month-to-month basis? How much traction are you getting? How much loyalty of the customers you're getting is very important. If those don't speak the truth, then you're doomed as a company regardless. It doesn't matter who's advising. It could be President Obama, but if you're not getting traction in the market, doesn't matter. So I think it's very important to look at a few key metrics of a company, and then be very religious about those to see that they're moving in the right direction for the company. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day for the company.
If you had to start again from the ground up, what things would be different?
I think the thing is because we're doing it for the first time, and we did it with a certain mindset, certain capital and all that, it took us 14 years, to get to where we are. Knowing all that I know today, I think I would basically shorten that timeline to a few years. That's number one, because I think if I were a lot more aggressive about raising capital, getting the right team, and basically making the right leadership team. I mean, I think one of the things that I did like 6 or 7 years into the company was trying to make the right partnerships with the right people. The 3 people that we like combined and lead the company today, if that was in place day one, I think we'd have been much further along the curve. So if I had to do it again, I would actually start day one with that kind of partnership, number one. Number two is go to the right people to say, okay, what do I need to scale it up very quickly to 1,000 people, 2,000 people and all that. So that's one thing I would do differently. Number two is I think like I would be a lot more transparent with our people. I mean, it's not that we were not transparent, but I think that we said, look, we are US, there's Nepal, basically like if we say what we're earning in the US, I mean, people in Nepal are going to demand a lot more in terms of salary and all that. And I think that was not very fair to our people as well, because I think a lot of people, I mean, everybody's very intelligent. They understand like what we're charging, and there's always an arbitrage between money that we pay in Nepal versus like what we charge our customers. I think if we had been a lot more transparent about people, it would have helped us basically build a lot of structures in place, which would be led by people here. And that would help us scale a lot more very quickly.
That's interesting. And in terms of let's suppose your company right now, how much of the culture has it changed? How much of the culture of the company has changed throughout the years?
I think it has changed quite a bit, and I don't know if it's for the right or for the wrong. So when we were smaller, it was much easier. You could know everybody felt your presence, like they felt like connected to everybody in the company. It was a great place to be in. I could see people stay like right after dinner as well, and there were like people strumming guitars, talking, all that, and it's a fun place to be in. Now, as we have grown, we've actually had to put structures in place so that there's a lot more assuredness of how the company acts. Like there's levels like structures, management, or something.
Hierarchies.
And hierarchies by policies in place of what people should do, reporting that they should make. And this is important because the company has to function in a lot more definitive way, or deterministic way as it grows. So those things are needed. But what happens is like individual feels like they are not as connected in the company as they were before. All these policies actually get in the way of doing work. They chafe, So I think there's a lot of, I would say, our growing pains in the company about those rules and regulations in place and people's reaction to that. And we're trying to manage that.